Hey guys, Hal Jackie here. Just wanted to do a quick video here about how to install the latest version of the Network Addon Mod. It's been by request by a few people, so I thought I'd just quickly go through it. So what I'm going to be downloading today is NAM 46, which is the most up-to-date version of the NAM as of this recording. So your version might be a little bit different later on, but make sure you're always on the most up-to-date version because we don't provide support for any previous versions, and you'll get the most fun, every bug fixes and everything from it. So there's many places to download the Network Addon Mod, but I find that the most convenient place to go to is ModDB because you don't need a account to register for it. You can just kind of go there, search for it, and go straight to files. So in files is where you will find the NAM. I'll put a link to this in the description, but basically at the very beginning, you'll go here and then you'll just go to files, and then there's two versions to download. There's the full Network Addon mod, and then there's a light version of the mod, which basically includes just a few bare bones features like it excludes the real highway. It provides a lot of bug fixes and whatnot. But if you want to get the full version, the one that needs the 4 GB RAM patch and all that, make sure you get the full version. So the first thing you need to do, obviously, is to click download. So you just kind of click that. It says download now. And then you can just kind of click that little zip here and it will start to download. You've seen I've already kind of done that a couple times already. And the other most important thing to do is to go to your plugins folder. So depending on where your game is stored, like if you're on GOG or Origin or whatever, right? Your directory might be a little bit different, but I just go to Documents, SimCity 4 plugins, and there's Network Addon Mod here, and that is the old version. So this is only for this step is only needed for people that already have the mod installed, just a previous version. But basically, what we want to do before we install a new version is to completely gut it. So just take it, you can delete it, you can move it to a different part of your desktop, and just make sure that that is out of there. So with that complete, we can go back here and we can check our downloads. I know I've already downloaded these, so I'm just gonna go here. I'm gonna go to the download page. Of course, I'm messing up when I record, right? It's always the thing. No, I need to just double click this. And come on, open. Okay, so here we go. So I just use WinWare to open. Might be a little bit different for you guys, but just kind of extract that. Just kind of grab that, extract it to wherever you want. I'll just throw it in my desktop. So just give it a few moments here. It is, getting larger every version, but it's still pretty damn quick. And it's done. So now that that's complete, we just need to go find that version called NAM 46 in our folder. For me, it was just desktop, so we'll just kind of click that. And you can see all this stuff here. So we want to run the installer. Blah, blah, I know. I already downloaded that. So if you have a 4 GB patch, if you have yet to apply that, you can kind of click that and make sure that it'll go to your directory for the app. Make sure you grab the exe and patch it. So you just kind of click open here and it'll say executable successfully patched, and that'll make it use 4 gigs of RAM. And then next up, we want to use the jar file. There's also a README. I should probably do that since it says README first. But basically, it'll give you all of the information about the system requirements, how you are installing it, and all kinds of steps just to follow the game correctly. And then it will tell you how to download it, install it, and then what features are here. I'm not going to go through all this because you can read all about it, but it takes us time on the NAM team to kind of get all this written up, so it's all there for your reading pleasure. But going back to the mod itself, we'll go to the jar and we'll go to installer and maybe that's a bit too far. I think it's just the MSI actually right here. Yeah. because you'll need this to install the jar. And then here you can just go to the bat and just make sure that the 4 gig is applied. Might have to open this up real quick just because it wasn't there. And yep, so this is how it comes up. Once you kind of go through all that, we get the Network Addon Mod installer. So just know that you'll read all this information, just on kind of some disclaimers. Just hit I agree. And you can move to Files at the top, and you can select what you want to download. I will show you what I download for my own use, but you can always do different things. You can expand these, and there's like additional information on the side to tell you what gets installed. So I'll just go through all of these things. So hybrid railway, I don't use that, so I'm going to unselect it. You may want it, and then there's obviously more content here if you want to specialize, right? If you wanted hybrid railway, but you didn't want the fittings, or you didn't want a specific model, you can trigger all that. Okay, light rail I use, Maxis Highway I use, and then there's also an override that you can download. So that's where the Maxis Highway override is. That kind of replaces your old ground and elevated highways with the RHW style highway. You can kind of see some additional information on the side. I like to keep the old stuff, so I keep that there just for some old cities. Monorail as well, right, if you want to keep all that stuff. Pedestrian malls and paths, I like all that stuff. There's the mid-block crosswalks, which are a relatively new feature. And Real Highway, I want to make sure I have legacy support, because I have all kinds of old stuff. So not everything is checked, so I want to make sure that I check the legacy puzzle piece menu buttons, because I still might need those in very specific spots, but almost everything's been replaced with some flex pieces. You can select all this, anything here that you may not want. That can all be installed there. Next up, road, one-way road, avenue. So I do like the auto turn lane still, so I keep those in, just because it gives me a little bit more control when the flex may not work, but the flex is doing great work there. The one-way road arrow plugins, I like to have a reduction of their one-way roads, and then I also like to use the single arrows. So that way you have less arrows and only one of them per tile instead of 2 or 1 per each lane. Next up, elevated viaducts. I just like to keep all that stuff there. Real expressway, that gives you all the slip lanes and stuff. It helps with your one-way road. It's like a highway-like network. Rural roads plugin, if you like to use passing lanes and stuff. I'm not really a big rural user, so I uncheck that myself. Next up is the tunnel and slope parameters. I have my own stuff, so I'm going to take that out. I don't want it. But if you do want better slopes for your RRW, which is real railway, you can put that in here. And we did some testing on some different versions. So there's a default, there's a moderate, and there's a strict. So basically how steep the slope you want to be. In street, I don't really use the street add-on mod, so I'm going to uncheck that. Subways, I like the flexible underpasses. Water transport, I don't use the canal add-on mod, so I'll take that out. And there's Z-Rail, so I like to keep all this stuff here. Additional transit stations, just all the special included transit stations. I like to keep all this stuff here, but if you don't use certain things, like let's say you never use the hybrid rail, right? Probably take that out. And you can kind of select the ones that you might want. All here. Next up is the Automata controller. So I like the really radical one here, the radical persistent 24-hour. There's also another one here. Basically how much automata is generated by your game. Next up is the data view options. So there's a few extra things that you can look at here which expand the game's data a little bit more. Miscellaneous, so I like the station queries. I like the hole diggers. I like the mass transit lots. I like airport capacity enhancements. It gives you a much larger capacity. I might make that very high. That way my airports don't get overcrowded as quickly. For bridges, I like all the bridges. Give me all the bridges you got. Texture, drive, and texture and drive support, side support. So what's that, you say? Well, it's just all the intersection stuff, so I like to keep that on. And you can do all that stuff here. You can customize it all you want. And then very lastly, the traffic simulator. So make sure you can click here what you want. So I like to have it on low, which is the recommended capacity. It's very challenging for some very large dense cities, but you can put it a little bit higher if you want a little less congestion on your roads. And then here is your controller. So I like right hand drive, 4 GB full. I want to make sure I get all that installed there. And then there's other ones that you can install as well. And that's kind of what I like for my selection. So you can always review it, make sure you're happy with it, and then go to location. Should just be the same spot as it was before. And then install. We can install it, and it will give us everything that we selected and create a new folder in our plugins for it. Doesn't take very long at all, so just give it a few seconds. And then once this is done, it will also run a clean it all, basically a check to make sure you don't have any duplicate items. So it says all items installed. It looks like it's not giving me that pop-up, so it means I'm good. I make sure I keep a clean plugins folder. And yeah, that's as quick as it is. It says all selected components installed. So if I go back to my plugins folder and I look for Network Addon Mod, you'll see it. You'll see the new install date. I did it today, which is February 6th, 2023. And you can see all the crap that I installed here. So yeah, it's all there. Any questions, feel free to put it in the YouTube chat or contact me, wherever you find me, Reddit, Twitter, Facebook, the forums, Discord, what have you. I'm all on there. But you can contact really anyone on the NAM team for support, or just check that documentation as well, because there's all kinds of guides and stuff inside. So yeah, hopefully this was helpful for everyone. Have a great time using the Network Addon mod. Thank you for downloading it. 20 years for SimCity 4, and we're still making new stuff, and we're not stopping either. The NAM team's working on number 47 of the Network Addon mod right now, and it's going to have some fun stuff. We're hoping to include a 6-lane RHW network, so we call it the 12S. It's going to be 6 lanes each way. It's a wide boy, just the one more lane, bro. So hopefully they'll be ready for 47, but I can't say 100%, as well as a few other things. But that's the big showstopper, big publicity thing. So yeah, we got that going. Anyways, I should cut it here because I said it was going to be short, and I'm already closing on 15 minutes. So yeah, have a good one, guys, and happy gaming.